Hey guys, so this video is about for sale by owners, why some of you are going to be successful, but most of you are going to end up with an agent. So it's obvious, right? A lot of you guys list for sale by owner. Why? To save the commission amongst of another plethora of things, which I'll get into here in a second. But then you really got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? So today I'm going to go over a few facts to kind of give you an idea as to what direction you should probably go in, at the very least in my opinion, but you make up your own mind. The number one thing FSBOs have trouble with is actually preparing the house to sell. Now, you may think to yourself, well, this is easy. I'm going to clean the house up. I'm going to organize it. And then people are going to come tomorrow, buy it, and it's over. And the truth is, that's just not how it works. You want to be as inclusive as you possibly can in your marketing. In other words, you want to show the property in the best light possible to attract the most amount of buyers. So for example, if you have certain things as decorations in your house, such as a lot of artifacts or things of that nature that make someone else feel uncomfortable, that's going to turn off some buyers. And when they see those types of things in the pictures, they're not going to bother even calling you. Now, the way brokers like myself capitalize on this is we do a quick walkthrough of the property with you, and we give suggestions, if you will, as to what you should exclude in terms of being displayed in the property during the listing process. Because again, what you want to do is attract as many eyeballs as you possibly can to get that house sold. The second challenge that a lot of FSBOs have is actually the paperwork. Now, believe it or not, a lot of you think that the paperwork for selling a house can be done by a 5-year-old. The truth is, that is incorrect. While we may not be attorneys and we may not be able to write legal contracts, we are able to fill them out to the capacity that we have been trained on, right? Now, there's a lot of things to consider in the real estate contracts. There's a lot of documents that you have to include depending on the property itself. For example, did you guys know that the first time you sell a house that is located within a CDD, now a CDD is a community development district, you have to actually include a document actually stating what the CDD fee is that the buyer has to sign. Another document that you should be providing to whatever buyer actually comes to your house is a covenant of the actual community. In other words, the rules and restrictions of the community itself, the articles of incorporation. These are things that I've seen FSBOs simply forget, or even worse, not even know about. And that poses a challenge as you go through the process, because these are things that can and will derail the transaction. As a real estate broker, my absolute duty is to make sure that you have all the paperwork you absolutely need filled out to make sure that the transaction goes through smoothly from contract to close without any hitch whatsoever. This will actually safeguard you as the client, because nobody can come back at you and tell you that, hey, you forgot this paperwork. I did not know about this certain thing and I want to back out of the contract. It also protects me as a broker, because at the end of the day, it's my job and my duty to make sure that this transaction goes through as smooth as possible. So a third problem that a lot of FSBOs have is actually selling within the time frame they expect it to sell in. So the fact of the matter is, when you compare your property to the properties in the neighborhood, chances are a lot of those homes have been sold by realtors, by brokers like myself. And you can't compare that timeline for your FSBO. The reason being is because a lot of for sale by owners properties, they actually have no marketing whatsoever. Even those programs out there like Assist to Sell or those programs where you pay $500 and they list on the MLS, they don't do any marketing for you. When it comes to brokers like myself who do this every day, day in and day out, our job is to sell that house. So any amount of marketing that we have to do, whether it's flyers, websites, open houses, mail outs, reaching out to our investor partners or even our mortgage lender partners to see who has a potential buyer that's going to come buy this house. You see, listing a home is not about list and forget. Unfortunately, that's something a lot of agents do, and that is simply not the definition of a listing agent. Our job is to sell the house. In other words, we have to do any and all forms of marketing in order to effect that sale. A fourth challenge that FSBOs have is actually pricing their home correctly. You see it out there all the time. You see a FSBO that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with 1,100 square feet listed for $600,000 to $75,000. Now, I say that as a joke, but you see it all the time. The problem is that there's a lot of AI-generated valuation systems out there that give you incorrect data. You see, when you list your property as a FSBO, most of the time, all you do is you go online, you look at what's sold recently on Zillow or at what's listed for sale on Zillow, and you base your price off of that. Or worse, you put an emotional value to the property. Now, I know that our homes all have emotional value, but as the buyer is not going to have that emotional attachment to justify paying a higher price than they should pay. The right way to price your property, and it's what we do here at Oppo Realty, is you have to look at the surrounding half mile to a mile around your property. Preferably in your neighborhood. You see, real estate is hyper local. If there are comparable properties in the vicinity of your house, the appraiser is not going to go outside of that to find properties. So if you're looking at a property that's 2.5 miles away and it has 2 extra bedrooms and a pool, things that your particular house does not have, you really shouldn't use that as a basis for your price. That's just not how it works. The appraiser will never actually look at that property because it's 2.5 miles away. And chances are, in the urban areas that we live in nowadays, there's gonna be a comparable property within a half mile of your property. So what we do is we take all that hyperlocal data of the properties that have sold in your area and we determine a price point based off of those historical numbers, not off of inflated listed numbers on Zillow or any other property. The fifth challenge that a lot of FSBOs have is actually your favorite subject of all, commission. The fact is, a lot of you list your homes as a for sale by owner because you want to avoid paying a commission. The problem? You still pay a commission. Most of the time, if an agent brings you a buyer, you typically offer them a commission, whether it's 2%, 2.5%, some of you give more, some of you give less. But a different way that you actually pay commission is indirectly. Most of the time, a lot of FSBOs actually lose more money because they list their property too high and they get lowball offers. And once the property has been on the market for a consecutive number of days or even consecutive number of weeks, as soon as you get desperate, you will take an offer even if it means leaving money on the table. That's when listing a property with a real estate broker like myself and a FSBO differ greatly. You see, my job is to get the most amount of money possible for the listing for you to benefit. Yes, it means a higher commission for us as real estate brokers or real estate agents, right? But it also means a higher profit for you as a seller. And even when we explain this to a lot of for sale by owners, a lot of them put up a wall. They're very apprehensive just to cross that line just because there's a commission involved. At the end of the day, what matters is the numbers. So as long as the numbers make sense, doesn't it make sense to just list with an agent and save yourself the heartache of having to live with all those challenges I've listed so far? The truth is, some of you are going to be successful in selling the house on your own. As a matter of fact, between 8 and 10% of for sale by owners actually succeed in selling their home on their own. The rest end up listing with a broker like myself. So if you find yourself in a bind and you don't know which way to go, either you're going to go for sale by owner or you're going to go list with a broker, I suggest that you simply just look at the numbers, talk to a professional like myself, and determine what makes the most sense. Sometimes it's not about whether or not you want to pay a commission. It's about what makes the most sense and what's going to get you the best possible profit. I could go on for a long time talking about some of the challenges that FSBOs face. But if you want a deeper list or if you have some more questions regarding the things I've gone over already, listen, give me a call, shoot me a text, and I'll be glad to go over what your current situation is, what could be the potential outcome if you list with an agent, and also what could be the potential outcome if you list on your own. As a reminder, my name is Peter with Upwell Realty. I hope you have a great day.